Good evening. Today is Monday, May 8th, 2023. This is a special meeting and workshop of the Board of Education. Do I have a motion to open the meeting? Lori, second. Cynthia, all in favor? All right, we're going to jump out into executive session and then be back at 7:30 for the workshop. Do we have a motion for executive session? Lori, second. Therese, all in favor? All right, thank you. All right, good evening. Today is Monday, May 8th, 2023. This is a special meeting and workshop of the Board of Education. We opened the meeting already at 6:30 to go into executive session, and then we're back to that. I apologize to all of you for how late we are. We like to be on time, but this one ran a little long, so apologize for that.
And we're going back.
We're not going to close executive?
Oh, so we didn't do a motion. Okay, so let's do a motion to close executive session, because we haven't done that.
To go back.
Yeah,
We're going back.
Yeah, we're going back.
Yeah.
We don't have to close it.
Okay, we're going to go back. We are going to go back. Okay, yes,
We
absolutely.
won't adjourn the meeting on it.
Okay, very good. All right, first order of business is pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so let's get right into the topic of our workshop, which is the budget presentation and public hearing.
I think we stay here.
Good evening to the Board of Education, President Pete Casson, Vice President Laura Banky, and our school community. Tonight, I present a summary of our proposed budget adopted by the Board of Education on April 18th. As you know, this budget has been developed in close cooperation with our Board of Education, the administration, and our teachers. The voices of our community stakeholders have also guided our decision-making. The budget we present tonight is designed in advance to advance our students and to prepare them all for excellence. We have a comprehensive process to develop our school budget. This work is anchored in our mission statement to prepare all students for excellence, built on the pillars of our bold strategic plan, and celebrates our points of pride. The achievements and accomplishments of our students are both the driver and outcome of our work. This includes acceptances into prestigious colleges like Johns Hopkins and Princeton. Their incredible theater production, music program, and accomplishments in the classroom and on the field. Before diving into the budget, let's review the 4 pillars of our current strategic plan, where we are and where we are going. So, where we are in Pillar 1, we have the Rethink program. There's full implementation of Rethink curriculum, K-12. Counselors push into the elementary level. It's toward in our health program at the secondary level. And I want to thank Mr. Kalaswana for that, because he started that as a teacher, and now he ensured that our new health teacher is doing that on the secondary level. And this program has been highlighted in previous presentations. Where we are, we've increased family communication. Weekly district newsletter via The Happenings, celebrating great things in our district. Webinars hosted by our assistant principals around bullying, our special education director and student service director around numerous topics related to special education. An upcoming webinar hosted by our director of curriculum and technology on how families can support young people navigating a digital world. Monthly newsletters sent out by our counselor at Cabo talk about SEL. Buildings have been more proactive in promoting attendance, and we redesigned the website and increased presence on social media. In health education, we have articulated a K-12 curriculum. Well beyond the requirement of the state, our health education curriculum is fully articulated K-12 to support our students' healthy lifestyle. Students receive health education at William E. Cottle, focused on healthy habits, and in the middle school, we move to healthy decision makings. All of this reinforced in the high school aligned with our Rethink program. Where are we going? Our staff can support emotional learning environment if they feel valued. We will continue our efforts to recognize their work in our outreach through the happenings and social media, and we are so proud of all their presentations that they have brought to the Board of Education. Just this week, district administrators, building administrators, and our wonderful PTA all celebrate Teachers' Appreciation with different events. The partnership between our leadership team and teachers is critical. The budget proposed represents the involvement and investment in students, and professional development has been one of our big points. We want to reward and nurture the dedication of teachers. Where are we going? Newsletters parents have enjoyed receiving in the elementary school will extend to our secondary students. Teaching our secondary health education teacher in the Learner Active Technology Infused Classroom, which is our PBL, we will continue to refine and implement multi-tiered systems of support, a very big social emotional program in our elementary school. We are extending that next year to 6th grade to 8th grade. Teachers, support staff, and administrators have reviewed student referrals through a lens of data. Again, if students aren't making progress, we look towards the data. Additionally, our positive behavior intervention systems, such as PAWS, which you've also seen at budget presentations, special ceremonies and rewards will continue to evolve as we reflect on the data and listen to our students. Positive behaviors and supports will extend to the middle school next year. In terms of Pillar 2, Contemporary Teaching and Learning, where we are, we've had many new courses. Over the past 3 years, we have added advanced placement courses such as physics, as well as statistics and forensics. We have one of the highest student to AP ratios in the region. In terms of contemporary teaching and learning, where we are, students' accomplishments. As you've seen in our happenings and on social media, our students are winning national competitions, they're winning on the field, they're winning on teams. Students are getting into terrific colleges this year: Princeton, Johns Hopkins, WashU, University of Southern California, Villanova, New York University, Vanderbilt, Rochester Institute of Technology, Tulane University, RPI, New England Conservatory of Music, and the Juilliard School. Pillar 2, Contemporary Needs of Learners, where we are. STEAM Lab. We have a STEAM Lab in Cottle with robotics and 3D printing. Kids learn about coding, digital citizenship, and the ways in which technology can be harnessed to make the world a better place. In the middle school, high school, kids are learning coding. They have design studios with similar equipment, including laser cutters. Where we are. Our innovative science curriculum. In shifting to new science standards, our teachers have adopted new approaches to teaching phenomenon-based science lessons in kindergarten and going all the way to physics. In fact, 2 of our teachers are New York State master teachers who work with our state education department on the implementation of rollout of these new standards. In terms of contemporary teaching and learning, where we are, programs steeped in the science of reading, vocabulary integration, and advanced writing. We have presented numerous times on what we are doing at Reading and Cottle and how we are on the forefront of using phonemic awareness and phonics to teach reading. We have also reviewed and rooted our early literacy program in this science. This includes considering the different strands that lead to skilled automatic reading, allowing for deep critical thinking as students continue their academic journeys here at Tuckahoe. In terms of contemporary needs of learners, as we have in both extracurriculars and athletics, we have added so much in the last few years. In extracurriculars, we've added so many high-level clubs like Quiz Bowl. I had to put that we brought back the GO class trips, but I know we've had them before. We have a coding club. We have the College Cafe to help kids to prepare their college applications. We have a robotics club now, advanced strings club, drama improv club, STEAM club with Legos, middle school debate, and next year we will be adding the high school debate team. In terms of new additions in athletics, we have varsity cross country now, modified cheer, JV girls basketball, varsity wrestling, and which we merged with Eastchester, modified girls lacrosse, JV boys lacrosse, modified track and field, assistant track and field coaches, which we added, varsity boys swimming in 23-24, where we merged with Mount Vernon. So we have continually added new extracurriculars and athletics in the last few years. Where are we going in terms of contemporary needs of learning? Professional learning on artificial intelligence and large language models. This includes professional learning on artificial intelligence and large language models like ChatGPT or Bing. Dr. Keough and 3 teacher representatives are participating in a regional consortium entitled The Future of Education, where they will collaborate with experts in the field and neighboring districts about what teachers need to know and how we can harness this promising tool in our education. Contemporary teaching and learning, where are we going? New ELA programs to promote vertical alignment. Next year, as we launch No Red Ink, which will help us to promote vertical alignment and more advanced writing skills, building off the foundation of the writing revolution. And if you go back to our other workshops, you will see that we have discussed this. This is very much teacher-driven. Expansion of the debate. Next year, we bring debate to the high school, and luckily, our middle school debate team will send us experienced and successful debaters. Their successes have been highlighted in our social media and in our village happening, in our Tuckahoe happenings. Increasing soft skills. We continue to integrate soft skills into our curriculum and assessment through presentations like the one we shared at a recent meeting with high school entrepreneurs pitching their products to Cabo Cubs. Where are we going? New electives in every core subject area. We will have electives in every content area: public speaking, creative writing, global markets, fashion design and marketing, and forensic science will help our students to find their passion and strengthen their skills across all subjects. Pillar 3 with diverse needs of learners, where we are, special education continuum. Our special education continuum is strong and very clearly articulated. Students and families know that they have a home in their district because we have been innovative in our programming design. Where we are, with diverse needs of learners, strong reading programs and support. Special education has been critical in the implementation of the Science of Reading initiative at the elementary level. The strengthening of our research-based programs have led to a reduction in referrals because kids are learning how to read phonemically and with phonetics in our schools. When a student's reading disability is determined, they are met with strong research-based initiatives based on Orton-Gillingham approaches. Our teachers are meticulous in data collection and progress monitoring. Where we are in diverse needs of learners. Students brought back to the district. Our special ed department has been dogged in bringing back students to the district. This has involved close partnerships with families and in-depth planning with our teachers and administrators. And this has a positive budget impact. Our program has brought back students to Tuckahoe, and families outside the district have expressed interest in paying tuition to take part of this. This has led to a positive budget impact. Diverse needs of learners, where are we? Creating an inclusive and affirming environment. We celebrate our diversity, whether it is through our month dedicated to autism awareness or this week's Building Bridges program. Diverse needs of learners, where are we going? Continued support for co-teaching models in the elementary school. Kate Sweeney and the special ed department has done a terrific job supporting the dynamic co-teaching model at the elementary level, and we'll expand that into the middle school this upcoming year through a mix of partnerships with inclusion consultants, firms, and our own coaching support. Support in labs and high-level courses. We have added special education staffing to high-level courses like geometry and are supporting students in integrated and co-taught classes in their lab periods as well. We don't want special ed kids to be left out of taking high-level courses. We want to make sure they get support so they have access. We will set up a committee to review the costs and criteria for the BOCES occupational education program or other vocational pathways. I say that because I know when we were talking about the budget at the very beginning, the board was saying, can we add BOCES? OCED, people have been asking about it, so next year we will set up a committee to look at that. Where are we in terms of professional learning, training, and project-based learning? By the end of the summer, we will have 17 teachers who have participated in rigorous PBL Summer Academy. These teachers have all launched different authentic learning units and are working with an instructional coach to ensure their continued success. In professional learning, where we are. Co-teaching, training, and ongoing coaching with off-site consultants as well as on-site consultants with our peer coaches, writing coaches, and director of curriculum and special education. In professional learning, where are we? data cycles. Teachers are examining instructional change through data cycles where they gather pre-assessment data, implement an intervention, and reflect on post-assessment data to determine next steps. In Pillar 4, professional learning, where we are is training and initiatives. Science 21, foundations, new reading programs, benchmark assessments, and learning modules for iReady. Orton-Gillingham approaches and being on target with new standards. Where are we going? Well, we talked about this before. Training on AI and large language models. You know it's here. Teacher representatives and our Director of Curriculum will participate in regional consortium on AI and LLMs. We will turnkey information and support staff in promoting awareness and its effective use in education. We want to make sure our kids are ahead of the learning curve. Where are we going? Ongoing training. We are not a one-and-done district. We sustain support and targeted coaching, whether it's integrated co-teaching or project-based learning. So many districts just do a one-time flash in the pan. We ensure that we continue it and we fine-tune it. And that's why in our strategic plan, we have continued to bring forth more and more in those areas as we have reached our goals. Now the budget. Over the past few weeks, we have presented some budget additions and subtractions. Total changes is William E. Cottle comes to approximately $19,000. These include resources for early literacy, high quality and engaging text for older readers, and updated science equipment for more rigorous instruction for our fifth graders. And that comes to $19,000. Changes for our middle school, high school total approximately $12,000. These include investments in a more rigorous science learning and additional materials for our ELA curriculum. Professional learning. We propose additions to our budget line items in professional learning that promote PBL and the middle school, high school curriculum development, and for our new rigorous and engaging electives. These changes total $23,000. Changes in staffing. In previous presentations, I've walked through each row of this district-wide chart to determine the impact of reductions or requests for full-time equivalent or FTE. In summary, the proposed budget includes an additional .433 FTE to allow additional special education offerings, new electives, an additional kindergarten section, and more AIS support for our students. How do we get to less than a half-time teacher? Is we reduced. So it's not just about adding. It's about looking at what the district needs and making adjustments that way. Changes in extracurriculars. This slide shows a total of proposed changes of about $5,000 in extracurriculars. You saw how many we've added in the last few years, allowing for an additional art club for our college Cubs because everybody wanted to do it this year and we could not get everybody in. A high school debate team for our wonderful, brilliant debaters, and additional STEM equipment for our technology-focused clubs. Meanwhile, an additional $27,000 allows us to provide replacement of Chromebooks for 3 different grade levels and complete our transition away from ARM-based projectors and provide replacement interactive modern whiteboards. The 2022-23 budget included amounts for one-time non-recurring expenses. These are not included in our 2023-24 budget and are therefore a budget reduction. And again, I said, and I remember board members saying, oh, you're adding all these things, so are you going to add them? Are we going to add new things and just keep this line in? And we're not. So the things that we had were furniture purchases for more spaces and initiatives, a wireless upgrade project that is currently underway, and a one-time textbook and curriculum purchases. Total reduction of one-time expenses is $296,000. Summary of the highlighted budget additions and subtractions. In total, with all the changes to support advancements of our strategic plan, we are showing a net reduction of $152,000, $399 to these areas that were discussed in the previous slides. I now invite Ms. Faith Sparks up to come and talk about the summary of the accounting and financials of our budget.
Thank you. Good evening. The proposed 2023-24 budget is $40,113,060, a percent increase of 4.94% a dollar increase of $1,887,560. The proposed levy is $31,237,172. This is a levy increase of 2.74%, or $833,190, which is below the legal tax cap limit based on the state comptroller's formula. As we dive into revenues, I'm happy to say that the Senate and Assembly passed the final 2023-24 state budget bills last Tuesday. The enacted budget includes year 3 of the recent 3-year foundation aid phase-in plan. In 2023-24 school year, all districts in the state will be fully funded as per the current foundation aid formula. Our foundation aid increase is approximately $918,000. For the past 6 weeks, there has been a survey that was included in our happenings to gather public comment on the use of our increase in foundation aid. The results are presented here on this chart. The #1 response we found was to maintain small class sizes, and we are proud to say that we are able to accomplish this in the 23-24 budget. This chart shows the history of our district's foundation aid and illustrates the governor's commitment to fully funding foundation aid as per the current formula. Here you will see a summary of our proposed revenue budget by category, starting with real property taxes at the top at an increase that's $500,000 below the legal limit. You will also notice the last line on this chart is appropriated fund balance. This is the planned use of fund balance to balance the budget, and we are proposing to decrease this number $37,633. Switching to expenditures, we have discussed in depth the numerous expenditure budget drivers, such as salary increases per collective bargaining agreements, costs of benefits, including health insurance and pensions, the rising costs of utilities and maintenance of our buildings, the large increase in transportation costs as we went out to bid this year for transportation services. While there are a number of budget drivers that are on the rise, the 2023-24 budget does reflect a reduction in a number of one-time expenses that were specific to the current school year and will not be recurring. Our budget supports the needs of our students. This chart is a summary of that proposed budget and the changes over the 22-23 school year, and it also includes our projected expenses for this year. Sorry, I just wanted to touch base a little bit on what Dr. Goodman spoke about before, our special education tuition revenues and expenses. Our district is known throughout the area for our outstanding special education programs spanning grades K through 12. Our continuum of services are unlike many other districts. Moreover, we are always looking at our students' needs and designing programs to enhance our continuum of services in order to keep our students in their community. When other districts cannot provide the specialized programs that we do, they will refer their students for consideration in one of our programs. As you can see by the larger chart on the bottom of this slide, we have a number of non-resident special education students placed in our district. The average tuition revenue per student is approximately $60,000. This non-resident tuition special education rate is set by New York State. In certain circumstances, we can charge more than this state rate. We carefully analyze the cost of each student to determine the appropriate rate. When we lose students as they graduate and exit out of our program, we have consistently brought new students back in to help maintain this revenue for our district. In addition, Tuckahoe does have some students that require special programs and supports that are not offered in our district, resulting in our district paying for out-of-district special education programs. As you will see in the smaller chart, we have recently been able to bring resident students back into in-district programs to be educated in their home schools. This is a benefit to our district in several ways. We are significantly reducing our costs to educate these students in out-of-district programs, and we are able to bring them back into their home schools so they can be educated alongside their neighbors and community members. This chart shows the budget in 3 different parts: administrative, program, and capital. The administrative budget refers to the portion of the budget that covers expenses related to the day-to-day management and administration of the school. This includes the salaries and benefits of administrative personnel. The program part of the budget is an important component that outlines our resources and funding allocated for academic and extracurricular programs within the school. This is essential for providing educational opportunities and resources to students to help them succeed in their academic pursuits and prepare them for the future. This covers a wide range of academic and extracurricular programs. The capital budget refers to the portion that is allocated for improvements, operation, and maintenance of school facilities. This may include construction, renovation, or maintenance of buildings and other physical infrastructure. Our next chart shows what our funding would be under a contingent budget. If the budget is defeated and the district had to go to a contingent budget, the tax levy would be held at the current school year, the 22-23 school year's level, which would mean $833,190 in cuts. This slide shows our projected revenues and expenses and projected ending fund balance for the current school year. As we look closely at our 22-23 estimated revenues and projected expenses, we are anticipating a surplus of approximately $670,000. This puts us in a favorable position for the year end, and we continue to monitor and refine these numbers as we move closer to the end of the year. Some of the drivers behind this surplus are sales tax revenue, non-resident special education tuition, and interest earnings all coming in over budget.
A budget is a reflection of a community's values. The proposed budget captures our innovation and commitment to students. Highlights of our budget include favorable class size, innovative professional learning for our faculty and staff, increased PBL opportunities, enhanced early literacy instruction, increased rigor in our science teaching, additional curriculum for our secondary level readers and writers, additional extracurriculars, and exciting new electives. Our proposals are linked directly to our strategic plan, which you saw today, where we are and where we're going. It supports the whole plan with also our new pieces and help propel our district forward with our mission. As you can see, we have approached the end of our budget calendar. Please mark your calendar for May 16th, our annual budget vote and trustee election. This is information available on our homepage about our budget, polling location, and hours. Please come out to vote, and that night we'll also have a Tuckahoe. I want to thank everybody who had a part of this. This presentation to the Board of Education is the product of a collaboration and hard work. I want to first of all thank the Board of Education for their leadership, partnership, and their continuation of wanting high standards for every student. I thank our business manager, Ms. Fake Sparks, for her thoughtful, diligent, and fiscally responsible work. I really have to thank Dr. Chris Keogh, because he has his eyes on what is best for our students, and he has so much to do with what this presentation is about tonight. Thank you to our building administrators who contribute to previous presentation and whose work is represented in our final budget proposal this evening. Thank you to the faculty and staff for their hard work and dedication, and for those who presented, we appreciate you coming forward and showing your great work. Thank you to our students for their love of learning and the joy they bring to our work as public educators, and they do. And thank you to our community. This community comes out and cheers for our students in all endeavors. They participate with us on Facebook, and they are so liking our students, and our students feel it. They are involved and invested in the success of our schools, and that's why Tuckahoe is moving forward and leading the way. And here we are again with our lucky double rainbow. So let's face it, rainbows are the closest thing we have in real life to the imaginary, magical thinking like unicorns. They're beautiful and special, and when happens, it's something that just stops us in our tracks and makes us pause and stare. It's time to think and reflect when you see a rainbow, especially when it's double. And I ask you to think and reflect on how far we have come and where we want to go. This double rainbow that shone bright over our new Colo field the evening before our ribbon cutting represents success, transformation, and unity. This, in essence, is symbolic of the light Tuckahoe shines as we lead the way. To the community, please come out and vote on Tuesday, May 16th. Your vote counts. I am now happy to open the floor to discussion. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Very well done, as usual. So I'm happy to open it up first to any board members that have any comments or questions.
I want to go last, because everyone's going to go
You want to go last?
Yeah, I always go last, so.
It's about
No,
time
I
you
just
went
have
first.
one
Go ahead.
thing, and I'm not sure if it was a new slide that was in there, because I did miss one of them, the one about the special ed revenues that were brought in.
Yes, that's
I was
new.
happy to see that you put it there, and to see that these last 2 years, because it seemed to be the same amount coming in all the time,
Going
kids
out.
non-resident, and the same amount going out. But these last 2 years, it looks like more are staying, so less are going out, and the same amount are coming in, which then
Right.
that.
So what happened, first of all, is we had a lot of older students who graduated, which caused that. And Dr. Sweeney and her team have been working really hard on promoting our program. And we get letters from parents who are now part of the program. We got one today, just how fortunate they feel to be in this district and what a great job we're doing with their kids. So it helps our budget greatly. And it helps us open classes for our students, because we don't want, if we have 3 students and we get another 3 students in a class for very involved kids, it's good for everybody, and it is good for our budget.
Yeah, but I was more happy to see that kids are not tuitioning out.
We don't have to outsource.
Yeah, we
as
don't have to
much.
outsource, so that speaks
Oh,
to.
that- I see what you
Yes,
mean.
that
We're
speaks
bringing
to the
kids-
great
Oh,
work that's being
Oh, I'm
done
sorry, I
with
didn't get
special
that.
ed.
We are
Like,
bringing back-
The same amount have been coming in, so that hasn't
Yes.
changed.
I
But
see.
the
In
amount
like the
going
financial
out, that
wellness.
Yes.
speaks to how well the program is doing.
Yes, so they're
I just
coming
wanted
back,
to give, like,
and I get
shout out
it.
to the
So-
special ed department and you.
Yeah, and Dr. Sweeney, the thing is, kids are coming back from
Yeah,
programs that they
that's good
wanted
to
to be sent out to, and now we have programs for them. So, thank you. I'm sorry I misunderstood
Yeah,
that.
no,
You're right.
It makes me happy to see it, because I didn't realize that, so I'm glad you put it up there. That's really all I had.
Okay. Teresa, you have anything?
Well, actually, you took what I
Yeah,
was gonna
that's why I wanted to go first.
I know, it's like you read my mind. No, I was impressed to see that too, and the fact that where it was a wash, we're now actually in the black,
Right.
right? So special ed was something that was just kind of breaking itself even. I just want to say that I'm really impressed by the amount of progress we have made as a district in the last few years. I think that we have worked very hard, and obviously it's only because of our very strong leadership that has happened. The acceptance list for colleges is incredibly impressive, and obviously that goes to the fact that the kids are obviously very smart and talented, but the parents also value education.
Right.
And I have always been a very firm believer that we have to advocate for our kids. That's why I sit on this board for all of our children, and the importance of having a strong community involvement and having parents who value education first and foremost. So I want to thank you for that, because you really brought out the best in our district.
Yeah.
And you deserve a lot of credit, Dr. Goodman, as do you, Faith Sparks. Your job is a little less flashy. So you have helped me with my MBA, sitting on your finance committee. No, and obviously Robin for all you do, and Dr. Sweeney and Mr. Is it Dr. or Mr.?
Dr. Keogh.
See you around.
Yeah, I thought you were making a typo for a while. I missed that one. You have a great team.
Thank you.
So, and obviously to the administrators, the teachers, I want to thank everybody. I'm very hopeful that our budget will pass, and I hope everyone remembers to vote.
Very good.
Okay.
Laura?
Yes, ditto what Therese just said on everything. Dr. Goodman, Faith Sparks, Dr. Sweeney, Dr. Keogh, and all those that have put a lot of time and effort into this budget, as you do every year. We've listened to this now a number of times, and I always make notes of that. I don't remember hearing that, so I think you put the new things in, do you? Okay, so I'm like, I didn't hear
This
that
was a
before.
lot of new.
Yeah, okay, all right. So I thought maybe I wasn't
Yeah.
listening last time. Well, one of the things I do want to actually comment on, and just to highlight for anybody listening, and I think it warrants attention, is the state aid has been something, even before I was on the board, I used to listen, and that was something that we even had a committee at one point to look into. Why are we not getting our full state aid? I don't want to say it's been a long time, maybe even 10 years, that it's been way below. So to see that increase, almost 40%, is tremendous.
huge.
And that goes a long way. I mean, and it was with a small district and a small budget, that really, so kudos to all that hard work that the business office did to make sure that happened. The other thing that I'm very excited about is the BOCES committee. That wasn't on last time, right? I'd like to be on that. No,
you can
another
be.
committee.
We will have board
but that's
members on
something
it.
for the diverse learners, and we've talked about this as a district, that ability to get children who are not college necessarily, want to do trades. We talked in the past about partnering, so these are all great things to put out there. We partnered with Eastchester was one conversation, maybe getting a van and seeing how much that would cost, and we could transport our own students. I mean, these are all things that I'm excited to put on the list of as we update our strategic plan, as we talk about what is necessary for kids in the future, because things are changing certainly in
Yeah, and I
that.
think that when we've talked about it in the past, about the BOCES specifically, I think the big thing we struggled with as a board, this was my first year on the board, that we'd have to pick and choose, because it does cost so much. So I
Right.
think if we're creative about it, we can think of ways where,
Yeah.
like, you know, we can
Well,
not only be able to afford to send 2 or 3 kids.
And it has to
when
be a
there's
recurring
10
line
that don't
item.
do it.
I know it was
Yeah.
special ed, right? So if they were mandated, then they went, and then there was sort of confusion, why is it only 2 seats? But it was really that the district just didn't have, or doesn't have that line item.
Yeah.
Right.
So that is, that's exciting to see that on there, so thank you for doing that, Dr. Goodman. I was also going to comment on the special ed that were in the plus, which is great, and that I'm sure when you look at those class sizes, I was going to comment on that too, that you make the class size big enough that it's worth that additional cost of the teacher. I mean, that's important too.
That's
So
exactly.
that, kudos to Dr. Sweeney. You do have to do a lot of sort of researching and making sure that those numbers make sense, because you don't want to I mean, there was a point we were nervous there were too many, and then there's
Yeah.
too little. I mean, there's always this sort of,
Yeah.
is there too many, and are we now crowding our kids, and we don't, so that's good to see that number looks like it's right on the money. So that, there was one other thing. Oh, well, can I ask you a question? Sparks about. So operation, this is another thing I did that's just jumped out at me. Operation and maintenance. There were 2 things that are up. One is the busing, and in that I realized it's really out there as far as the busing industry, right? And that's sort of across the board in all districts.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, the operation and maintenance, does that have to do with all this stuff that's going on with our pipes bursting and things
Yes,
falling
no.
apart, leaking?
All those
Yes.
horrible
I mean-
pictures you show us of the basement.
Because that's the second high. I'm just,
Well, it not only is it the operation of our building and the maintenance of our buildings, but also just increase in utility costs and utilities in
right.
general have skyrocketed. I'm sure everyone's seen it on their home bills
Yeah,
as
okay,
well. We're
that's
not
part of it.
immune to that. So yeah, it's a combination of that and the conditions of our buildings.
right, and especially being that the heat's cranking all the time, and that's going to be
Yes.
hopefully with that's going to be things that we're going to correct.
Our
so.
pipes, yeah, it's
Yeah,
the
got it.
tunnel under the building.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, great. Lori?
Just point of clarification, so there is no money that has been allocated for special ed that has been reduced, right?
Correct.
Does that go on a different line how does that work?
So-
Just want to make sure.
So there is a line in our budget for occupational education.
Yes.
And depending on how BOCES bills us, we do only send special education students there. But depending on how BOCES bills us and how we report it to the state, it sometimes gets moved to a different line. So it is 2 kids. It might look like we didn't spend anything, but that's because it was just charged to a different line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Based
so,
on how they
how they,
charge us.
yes,
Okay,
yes, and
I
how
see.
we classify our costs for special ed to meet maintenance of effort.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see, okay. And then, let's see, what was my other one? So that was one, so thank you for that. Helps me in clarifying in my mind the budget. I also want to thank Dr. Goodman, Dr. Keogh, Dr. Sweeney, and all of our school community for really capturing the sentiments of our community, our values, as you say. That's really true, and really working that into a wonderful strategic plan, and also the supports that each pillar has to build our kids, right? So thank you for that. I look forward to the next one and how we can even make it better. So speaking of the budget and making it better, thank you for making sure that there was a real investment in decodable books for those early grades, because we know that decodable books really support and strengthen our children's phonological experience, phonemic awareness, phonics, their reading level, and also their writing. They are a tremendous tool, and it helps to, when a child knows that they can actually read a book, it could be filled with all of these, phonic pieces that it's easier for them to decode or sound out, for those who don't know what that is. It really helps to build their self-esteem, and they really feel like real learners. From the benefit of the teacher, it really supports their ability to read, their skill set, and also their fluency, right? Because if we don't read like we talk, then we can't understand what we read, because we would read like this and then you would lose all meaning. So the decodable books, the investment in that is so important to our early learners and their development as strong readers and writers, which I've been really, really fighting for. So I'm really happy about that, that there has been a real focus on that. And also, I was just curious, because our community has been really, and particularly in this day and age when we're seeing so many violent experiences and shootings, and particularly in schools. Can you talk a little bit more about your Rethink program? Is that a program that is just for our early grades, our elementary program? Because I thought it was K to 12. Can you dig a little deeper in that and helping us understand?
It is a K to
its
12.
value?
It's a K to 12 program. There's a curriculum from kindergarten through 12th grade. For example, I'll give you a middle school curriculum, which I love this one.
Okay.
There's a thing about, so it's very CBT based, like cognitive behavior therapy, and you know how part of that is kids, girls, sometimes boys, ruminate on their thoughts.
Yeah, CBT is like the gold standard
Exactly.
treatment for anxiety.
Right, so a kid who's ruminating, but they do it on their level, so they call it stinking thinking. And they watch video on it, then they talk about it, and then they can use it, like they could stop themselves and say, I could say, I don't like the way she's looking at me, but she's just looking at me. So it teaches them, that's an example of a part of a middle school curriculum. And there's all those vignettes. They talk about, of course, drugs and healthy behaviors, but also those types of anxiety, which you were just talking about, that happens in middle school, or anger, how to manage anger. So the classes, the curriculum is very set, much more than any curriculum that I have seen in terms of social emotional learning. And if you want, we can do a whole presentation on that.
That would
Maybe
be
do a
nice.
workshop on that,
That
because
would
I
be
think
really
there's
good.
some confusion.
Yes.
I'm hearing about that. And, I think it's important that people know what's being
For
learned.
teachers too, it takes the, everything out, because the curriculum is so laid out, so it really gives them real skills to teach kids.
Right.
To deal with all those things.
Right,
I'm
exactly.
thinking of the little ones, it's like that, stop and count to 5, before they can actually
Right,
do
right.
something. So it just gives very simple skills. for
And older kids need
K to
those skills
12,
too,
yes.
like counting to 5 before you're going to say something
Right.
that
Yeah,
you're going to
so
regret.
And I know
Teaches
before
a lot.
COVID, I thought we were, if you were at that, but before we stopped meeting for 2 years. In your office, you had brought parents, if I'm
Yes.
remembering correctly.
Yep.
You had,
Yeah,
and so
exactly.
I'd never heard of it. We were doing the ruler, and this woman came in and she gave a great presentation.
Yep.
So something, it wasn't,
Yeah.
it was a small gathering, but I think something on that where parents
Right.
know.
I think we
what
need
that
to do,
is.
so we're doing a
That was very
lot in the
helpful.
elementary
Yeah,
school,
that
but I
would be
think we
good.
need to bring that more so that parents see it. So, for example, that was a group of kids that were having trouble and parents were involved, and we talked about, how we can help our kids, because it also helps
Right,
parents, because
right.
we also have stinking
Keep the
thinking,
dialogue consistent, right.
And, what we're going to say. So that was an example of that.
It might even be good to capture, when we've done a lot of videos and we're actually seeing it in action with
I think
the
that's a
kids,
great idea.
'cause then people could actually see it.
Yeah.
Kids
Nice- it's
learning
nice,
and using
right,
it.
exactly.
Do
That
they use
might
it in
be
the
a good
city,
thing.
Cynthia? Are you familiar with
Yes.
using it as a?
Yeah, we use it.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And most of the city does.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I love about the program is the idea and the practice of using common language.
Yes.
Starting very early, so
Yes.
that it's traveling with the children and within our school community from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade. So it's consistent and methodical. I think that's terrific. So yeah, I would love to,
That would be a good workshop.
that would be a great workshop. Yeah, I definitely think so.
When we start making our workshops for next
Yep.
year, we should think
Yeah.
about
Right.
those.
I also I forgot when I was sitting here, just to also highlight the small class size. And I thought it was very interesting, Faith, that the community, voiced that was clearly the biggest concern. And so that's been another huge accomplishment and obviously a priority for this administration where it definitely was not in the past. Like my daughter sat in kindergarten with 29
Right.
Yes,
Wow.
children.
yes.
And
So did mine.
that's
yeah.
a true story. And so that's been one of my
I know it's been a
priorities as well, and
strong
so-
board priority and my priority, and we send out surveys a lot to the community because we want to know what they value, and they seem to value just what you want to value because you're typical good members of the community who want what's best for the kids. But
Right.
class size, no matter what study you read, because I think, I was a teacher, small class size makes a difference.
Oh, yes,
And that's
absolutely.
it.
I'm a witness.
There's some studies that say it has to be
Yes.
12, but it doesn't. Fewer kids do better,
Yes.
period.
Especially younger.
Right,
Yeah,
absolutely.
especially
And
younger.
just like the co-teach model in the classroom, there's
Right.
no doubt that having two trained educators in a classroom is going to benefit every kid in that room.
Exactly.
The ratio goes down by 50, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
50%. Like, there's no way not everybody sitting there is winning in some way.
Exactly.
Very, very true. So thank you for your budget, and thank you for the work that you do in leading and guiding us, and I'm real excited about where we're headed.
It's
as a
all your
district.
push, all of you.
Yeah.
And I believe in what you're wanting. And the reading is a great example.
So important.
Needed
And
it.
that stops a lot of our kids from going into special education in the first place, and that's what I think we have always been focused on for years now, especially me and Therese and a lot of other people too. So
You
this
can't
is
get to
really
kids too late. You got to teach them how to read
Really
early.
early age,
All the
that's
studies
right.
show that.
That's so true. So
They're
true.
not reading by third grade. That's a problem.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
So I haven't said much. I'm not going to say much more because a lot was said, and I want to we'll move on. But excellent budget, obviously, and you guys managed to make a really good budget even better this time around, which is hard to imagine. But really, really good, totally aligned with all of our strategic goals. And I always like to highlight, too, the fiscal responsibility part of it. You saw a ton of great stuff in there, and yet we still are coming in under what we are allowed to ask the taxpayer by $500,000, which is a lot and it's significant. It shows how well of a designed budget it is, and also keeping to reduce that dependency on fund balance, which I think is great. One thing that concerns me, Faith, I don't know if you've thought about this, but I know your point before, Laura, about the state aid, the foundation aid being so robust, but it's kind of peaked now. What's your thoughts about, and I don't want to look forward to next year, let's get to this year too, but that's a significant amount of money is going to come off next year when that foundation aid drops back down, right?
Well, no, the foundation aid's not going to
Stays.
drop
Oh, it
back
stays the
down.
same.
It stays at that
Oh,
same.
it just doesn't increase as high.
Well,
That
yeah,
won't
so
increase at the same rate.
Right.
typically, districts that were already at the fully phased-in level have been receiving like a minimum due increase of 3% for the
Yeah,
past few
right.
years. So that's what I'm thinking. That's what we put in our long-range plan. Unfortunately, in the governor's budget, there was no funding to look at the foundation aid formula and maybe revisit how it's calculated.
Yeah.
So that's not going to happen this time around.
Right.
But we are not going to see the increases in foundation aid that we've been seeing of 37%
Okay.
moving over the next few years unless something changes dramatically in the formula.
Yeah, that I can live
It's
with.
not going to go back down. We're
Right, okay,
made whole.
that's making me feel a lot better, because I actually thought that we were in a catch-up mode, and then it was going to drop back down, so that's really good to hear that it's not going to.
Wasn't the whole
Okay.
thing like we were being underpaid?
Yeah, it was-
Yeah.
yeah, it was- that's why
Yeah,
it
so
was
if you
catch
look
up.
back, we were at
All those
1.3,
years.
1.4.
We were underdeveloped
it
for a
was
long time.
very,
Yeah.
it was frozen at a level, during the recession. And the state was sued, and they had to commit to fully fund
But they
foundation
didn't.
aid.
But it was really, I think districts like Tuckahoe and Eastchester and our senator that you spoke to, I think it was Amy Paulin. She didn't stop. She really didn't. And I think it was all of that to, everybody, it became more fair, which is really what had to happen. We were being gypped for a very long time.
That formula, that's like, do we really know that formula, right? That's like a little mystery
Yeah.
that we'll
Yeah.
never
Oh,
know.
I love
Formulas are multi-page
formulas are.
We look at them because numbers we report
Yeah.
to the state do drive the formula, so we do look
They
at the
do.
But
formula.
what do they mean?
Yeah.
Why do they come up with those formulas?
All of accounting is just like a different language. It's very confusing.
Last thing I'll say is that, what I like about this budget too is that it continues to build upon the success that we've already had and everything. It's a building block, and it's been said before, but I want to say it also. We always think about the numbers and the programs, and it is important this last meeting to acknowledge the leadership of this district, because that's really what gets it done. It's what's gotten it done. It's what allows us each year to build upon the year before. And all this stuff is just numbers and programs. It doesn't get done unless it's actually led and put into place. So I want to thank you and your staff and all your administrators, because you really, put the rubber where the pavement hits the road. It comes from the leadership, and we recognize that. So thank you very much. And thank you for a great budget. Thank you, Faith. Really good budget. So I guess we can open it up to the floor. How many folks plan on speaking? Do we have any folks? Peggy, are you speaking about the budget, or are you speaking about PTA? Anybody want to speak about the budget at all? Anybody? No? Okay. All right. Peggy, all yours.
Oh, Peggy?
Yeah, it's usually there.
It's usually over there.
Yeah, it's
but
usually over
it's
there.
here.
Yeah, it's over there this time. Okay.
We're going to the library next time?
Can have the sound next time? I am so sorry. I'm gonna. Sorry. Sorry. Oh, well, that's a first.
Good, don't
At
worry.
least it wasn't like vodka.
Do you need to get a napkin?
Oh, here, sorry, Laura.
Sorry.
Don't worry, it's fine. Good job. Go ahead. Good, we're good. No, it's fine.
All right. Good evening. This is on? Okay, good. Good evening, board. I'm Peggy Angelo. I'm the PTA president. And like the school, the PTA, and probably every family in the district right now is incredibly busy. But I wanted to just talk about, this is just going to cover our May. I always try and keep it just a little forward thinking. We ended April with our spring social, which was a huge success, the highest turnout and financial win for us in our history. So incredible. And so I thank the community. I thank the teachers, the administrators for coming out and supporting us. It was such a fun night. And Amber Cassis and Christine Sanzillo, and I don't normally call out PTA members specifically because everybody on the PTA does an amazing job, but they went really beyond to get the highest success we've ever had. So I want to say that. Thank you. This week we start Building Bridges, which is, I think, one of the most thoughtful programs the PTA partners with. Building Bridges allows our volunteers, and they're all parent volunteers, to teach students at Cottle, K through 5, about the different disabilities and abilities people have. So for anybody at home that doesn't know, the kindergarten will learn about all disabilities, so they just get a real small snippet of all disabilities. Blind and vision impairment is first grade. Hearing loss and deafness is second grade. Autism is third grade. Physical challenges are fourth grade, and then learning disabilities are covered to the fifth graders. And then it culminates with a panel of students, which is so incredible, of students who have disabilities speaking to our Cottle students about their disabilities and how they've been able to be successful here in school. So it is probably the greatest program, and it's on at Cottle right now as starting today. We are also running the Spring Boutique. I mean, there isn't a space not being taken at Cottle this week. The Spring Boutique is obviously always a lot of fun for the students. It's perfect timing for Mother's Day, Father's Day, and graduation gifts. On May 16th, Dr. Goodman spoke about it. We are collaborating with a real exciting program here at the school, and I think the Tuckapalooza is what we've named it, which is super cool. We're excited because it's a formal art show to showcase the students' work, and so for us, anytime we get to showcase the students' work, we're really excited. It's going to have Pops in the Park, a science fair, an art show, and then a PARP celebration of reading. So that's on May 16th. Our BTA dance program will culminate with their dance recital of 184 dancers on Sunday, May 21st, with 2 performances. And I can't even underestimate the amount of work that goes into the PTA dance program. It starts in September. It runs every single week. There's not many programs that run an entire school year. It runs every single week, totally on parent volunteers. So it is really probably one of the greatest shows that the PTA puts on in terms of entertainment to the school district. We also have PTA Recognition Night on Wednesday, May 24th. This is our event, the PTA, where we get to thank our volunteers who help us with our programs. So outside of the 62 executive board members, our programs are run by parent volunteers. So we put it out to the community and the parents get involved. Grandparents, guardians, volunteers. So this is the night we thank them. We also give our PTA Lifetime Achievement Award. And this year, our forever deserving PTA member is Sue Fleming. Sue has done so much for the PTA, the school, the town, church. We are just one of the many lucky benefactors of Sue's generosity. So she is going to be awarded that on May 24th. Then we wrap up May with a Cottle Book Fair. And then I won't even go into the June programs because that would take some more time. So I'll come back in June. But I just think it's so important for everyone to know how grateful for the board, to know how grateful we are, the PTA, that we get to work with the teachers and the administrators to put so many thoughtful, inclusive educational programs into place. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Peggy, I
Thank
just
you,
wanted
Peggy.
to let you know, when you were talking about building bridges, a community member from a local community reached out because they heard that we did it. They wanted to know about the program. It is truly, I volunteered for it as a parent when my kids were in the elementary school, and everybody should get involved in it. It is such a wonderful program,
really is.
and it's such a meaningful, it gives people such perspective.
Yeah. I mean, the volunteers are parents.
Right.
The students that we are able to educate through that process who, know very little or have, maybe their own preconceived thoughts about what a reading disability is or what a physical disability or somebody who's visually impaired. I mean, in 40 minutes, the education's amazing. The program is so well structured.
So well structured.
We actually, it's one of our programs we don't have a hard time finding volunteers. It sells out before we even get to the second day of
Well,
it.
that's
So
great.
it's great. Yeah.
And it's great that Tuckahoe brought it to this area, and now other people have heard about it, and are doing it and bringing awareness to the program.
Yeah.
So,
And it
PTA
fits in
is
nicely
great.
with the special education conversation about internally educating people to special education.
Right.
And building
Absolutely. Well,
empathy.
thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And congrats on the spring social. That's an amazing accomplishment.
Yes.
All right. So before we close out public comments, any last chance? Anybody? No?
I just want to say one more thing about the budget. I don't know if I got to thank everybody. I might have left out Dr. Sweeney out of my group, so I want to make sure that I thank her too, because she did so much. And again, I thank the board, because we wouldn't be this great and have had all this great success with so much that we added if it weren't for all of you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we just have a little bit of business, being it's a workshop, so let's just get through that. First up is approve an educational services agreement. Resolved that the Board of Education of Union Free School District approves an education services agreement for Bronxville Union Free Union Free School District for the 2022-2023 school year at a rate not to exceed $47,530. Do I have a motion? Lori? Second? Cynthia? Any discussion on this? All in favor? Next, adopt the policy. Sorry. Resolve the Board of Education adopts policy 115015-R, 0115-E as attached to the official minutes of this meeting. This is the third time that we're actually mentioning this policy or, reading it. We're not going to actually read it. I'll just give a little summary of it. It's actually 3 policies that are being put in place as per New York State law. There is a revision to a background note to address a recent Supreme Court ruling and updates to legal citations. This policy reflects the provisions and requirements of the Dignity for All Students Act and the Commissioner's regulations implementing it, including changes made under the Crown Act. This specifies that discrimination on the basis of race includes traits historically associated with race, such as hair texture, hairstyles like braids, locks, and twists. Revisions were made to change wording for his, her to they, their, and change the wording of shall and should to will and must. The revision also designates the responsibility of implementation and coordination of bullying prevention to the district-wide Equity and Wellness Committee to be overseen by the district-wide Dignity Act coordinator. So that is what these policies talk about. You can go on the board docs and read them if you'd like, but we're going to go ahead and now vote this policy in. Do I have a motion? Therese, a second. Cynthia? All in favor? Okay. Approve an athletic merger. Resolved upon the recommendation of the Assistant Principal of Student Services and Athletics and the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Tuckahoe Union Free School District hereby approves the sports merger with Mount Vernon City School District for varsity boys swimming for the 2023-2024 school year and authorizes the Superintendent of Schools to execute the letter of intent. Do I have a motion? Therese, second. Lori? Any discussion on this?
Did we always partner with them, or?
It's new, seems
I
like.
think this is a new merger.
Bronxville, right?
Yeah, we used to do swimming with Bronxville.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Mount Vernon is new.
Yeah.
yeah, but this
Yeah,
is,
I don't know, I was just
so
curious.
it's come back, yeah.
That's new with Mount Vernon. With
It's
Mount
new,
Vernon.
Mount Vernon.
It's new this year.
Yeah.
No, that's why I was just asking, did something
Yeah.
happen, anything with Bronxville that we're not doing anything?
I don't know, did we do it with
Were they
Bronxville last
having
year?
We did it with Bronx.
I don't know if we did it with Bronxville
2
last
years
year, but I
ago,
know
I
we
know.
used to do
We
it.
did it, yeah.
Maybe they didn't have the
Maybe this is
space,
new
I don't know, just
I
curious.
just got that on my list. Yeah. And I
Okay.
don't think we ever did it with Mount Vernon. Andy set that up.
All right, you can get back to us on that.
Yeah.
All in favor? Okay. Approve an agreement. Resolved that the Board of Education of Tuckahoe Union Free School District hereby approves a fieldwork agreement between Long Island University, Brooklyn campus, and the Tuckahoe Union Free School District for field placement experience for a school psychology student for the 2023 fall semester and the 2024 spring semester, and authorizes the building principal to execute the same. Do I have a motion? Therese? Second. Lori? Any discussion on this? All in favor? Okay. Approve an agreement. Be it resolved that the Board of Education of Tuckahoe Union Free School District approves the school district's retention of KG&D Architects, PC, to provide architectural and engineering services to the school district in connection with the school district's 2023 bond implementation project involving alterations to Cottle Elementary School to the Tuckahoe Middle School and High School, and be it further resolved that the Board of Education hereby authorizes the Board President and/or Superintendent of Schools to execute the standard form agreement between the owner and architect, construction manager as advisor edition between the school district and KG&D Architects PC dated February 15, 2023, and to execute such other documents and to take such other actions as are necessary to effect this resolution. Do I have a motion? Cynthia, second. Therese. Any discussion on this? All in favor? Okay. Approve an agreement. Resolved, the Board of Education approves an agreement with Precise Translations LLC for translation services for the 2022-2023 school year not to exceed $5,000. Do I have a motion? Lori, second. Laura, any discussion on that? All in favor? Okay. And then lastly, we have personnel action items. So we don't actually have a motion to do them all, so I'm going to do them individually, Robin, or? is it-
Yeah, I started out with just one.
Yeah,
personnel
and then you kept adding?
recommendation, And then
All
I
right.
had to walk two on, so.
All right. Well, the first one's always an exciting one, which is to confer tenure. So I know we don't, Stephanie isn't in the audience today, so that's great. I know we usually recognize our tenured staff in June, right? We usually
Right.
ceremony, but it's great that you're here.
You're a great teacher, but you'll hear more about it in June. Congratulations.
Yeah.
To be continued.
To be continued, but you're getting it tonight.
Yeah. Yep. Good to see you. So let's make it official. Resolved that the Board of Education, at the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, confer tenure upon Stephanie Silva as an E&L teacher at the William E. Cottle Elementary School in the Tessel tenure area, effective April 24, 2023. Do you have a motion? Therese, second. Cynthia, all in favor? All right. Congratulations, Stephanie.
Congratulations.
Well deserved. Next, approve summer scholar teachers. Resolved that the Board of Education, on recommendation of the Superintendent of School, appoints Danielle Dwyer and James Moore as teachers for the Summer Scholars Program for the period of June 26, 2023 through July 28, 2023, at the following hourly rates as per the TTA contract, not to exceed $5,061 per person. Curriculum planning, $57 per hour. Summer tutoring, $73 per hour. Do I have a motion? All right, second, Lori. Any discussion on that? All in favor? Okay. Appoint a provisional senior office assistant. Resolved, that the Board of Education, on the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, appoints Laura Mocchia? Am I saying that right? Mochia, sorry. Appoints Lori Mochia as provincial senior office assistant at the William E. Cottle Elementary School, effective May 22nd, 2023, on step 7 of the CSEA salary schedule. Do I have a motion? Lori, second. Cynthia. Any discussion on that? All in favor? And then lastly, resolved, the Board of Education appoints Robert Kernan as per diem substitute teacher at the Tuckahoe Middle School, High School at a rate of $140 per day, effective May 4, 2023 through June 30, 2023. Do I have a motion? Therese, second. Cynthia. All in favor? That's it. Okay. So that brings us to our adjournment, but we're going to go back into executive session, so I'm not going to adjourn now. Do I need to motion to go back into executive session, or is it still open? Still open. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate you coming on out. May 16th, budget vote. Please come on out and make sure you vote. Thank you very much.